Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. If you guys are enjoying the daily crypto news, make sure you press the like button, subscribe, and comment something down below to really support the channel. It helps out a ton. So first article of the day is Bitcoin price drops $1,000 as stocks plummet, bulls quickly buy the dip. So what happened today was a pretty big dip. I guess it was roughly about $1,000. Right here on the weekly chart, it is actually not that noticeable, I would say. And even if you look at the whole, I guess the aggregate right now, you're not really noticing it. But if you check out the 24-hour period here, the highest point was about 6,800 and the lowest point was about 6,100 or so. And even here we can see a $5,800, which definitely shows me again that it was a pretty volatile day, right? These numbers here not completely accurate, as it's pretty simple to see that yeah, there's $1,000 difference right there. $1,000 roughly, I would say 17% or so. Definitely a lot that is going on right here. So that's pretty crazy if you think about it. But also, this dip was not as heavy because it was really bought almost instantly. You can just see it right here. Exactly when it dipped down was just really brought back up to mediocre levels, really straight afterwards. And I guess the move downward was really not supported by volume all that much, most likely. I guess that's the point they're trying to make with this article right here. Then I just noticed that Teasauce, cryptocurrency founders, settle with investors for $25 million. So the whole story is that a couple of investors were not happy with Teasauce, where they have a company and a foundation. I guess a foundation non-based profit or non-profit based. And what the situation is they had an ICO, right, in 2017. And some people are saying that Teasauce should have registered with the SEC before doing all of this. And Teasauce is like, well, your whole money that you gave in the ICO is more so like a donation. We don't really have to give you anything. And the investors wanted their money back right now. And as you can see at the bottom here, the settlement class includes roughly 30,000 investors who participated in the ICO between July 1st and July 13th, 2017. The class attorneys seek roughly $8.3 million out of the $25 million in fees. The settlement will still need to be approved by a federal judge. Lawyers for both sides did not respond to emails seeking comment on Friday, but that's pretty interesting to see that this whole settlement is going to go somewhere. I don't really know if they're going to get their money, the $8 million or not. And even then, I mean, it's $8 million out of 232, but it's cool to see that they're trying. And that this is also the thing they're trying to do with XRP out of Ripple. Bitcoin's 2015 Fractal has so far been followed in its entirety. The price has increased above its 200-day moving average, the weekly RSI is oversold, and the price is possibly following a fractal from January 2015. If the fractal holds, the price could go as high as $9,000 before decreasing again. The whole article we can't really read, but I guess the couple of guidelines here, or the keynotes they gave, are already quite interesting. A couple of these websites are really freaking expensive to sign up to. I guess I maybe should have just tried it to register for free, but I'm like, I already got enough info from this part right there. Genesis Mining says, if economic crisis deepens, Bitcoin will shine as the new gold. I find it interesting. Because, of course, we've had many discussions about crypto and specifically Bitcoin being a store of value like gold is. And at this point, I think one of the best stores of values is still watches as well. Like the classic ones, or maybe even classic old cars and whatnot, like antique things. Reason for that is they really do not care too much about, I guess, the normal economic circumstances, so to speak. Because, for example, the price of gold in a watch might fall or rise, but in the end, the velocity of watches is not really going to change that much, or the amount of volume of watches being sold or bought is not really changing that much, which, for in the end, the whole thing will kind of put itself at the equilibrium again, and thus it has not really changed that much in price, even if there's a big crisis going on. With gold itself, it can really change a lot because people want to invest as a speculation or a hold, a real hold in value. They really bet all the way for that. And also, it's a precious metal, and it's not really craftsmanship too much in it. It's just like kind of they have to get it and I guess refine. But you guys get it there a little bit. I hope. The craftsmanship in a watch is also what gives it more power and value. With gold, it can be found. And that part is gone. It's just kind of betting that people will still want to have this precious metal. Whereas, we've seen it so volatile over time. And the whole point of this story, I guess, because I'm kind of going away from my point a little bit, is that Bitcoin, to my experience, is really a freaking good store of value, but people just have to kind of accept it a little bit more. People have to get more familiar with it all, and then after a while, you'll notice, all right, it's actually everything that gold would have, but then online, right, on the blockchain. And I mean, the most basic thing is that it's limited, and you'll never get more Bitcoin out of there. I guess that's the biggest part about it all. And the second part is, I guess, so to say, I wanted to say one that's actually not correct. I guess I should skip that. I guess that's the biggest part. You will never get more than that. And I guess there's just a lot of value attached to it. Maybe one of you guys knows about this a little bit more. Put it in the comment section down below. What determines a store of value? I can just type it in on Google after this video. But for right now, comment down below. When is something a store of value? If it holds its value well, yes. But are there any specifications that it has to qualify for? Because here Genesis Mining says if the economic crisis keeps going on, we'll notice that Bitcoin is going to be really, really good. And even in times like this now, we notice that gold is not a real good store of value in the sense of it can still go up and go down. When a lot of these stocks went down, gold went down as well. Crude oil was down, everything was down. But that also showed us again that it's not a inverse direct correlation, direct inverse correlation, as in it's not necessarily if one goes down 10%, the other one goes up 10%. It's not even if the one goes down, the other one goes up. It just really depends on the whole market as a whole. It's really kind of interesting to see, I guess, from that perspective. But yeah, Philip Salter, head of operations at Genesis Mining, believes that economic meltdown may lead to a growing value for Bitcoin as a hedge against the banks. In the last couple of weeks, there has been a lot of turmoil in the Bitcoin world. There was a rapid decline in hash rate, followed by an even more precipitous price drop. This was partially troublesome in view of the impending halving. Cointelegraph had an in-depth conversation on these topics with one of the most prominent figures in the Bitcoin mining space, Phil Salter. Bitcoin miners have margin calls too. Speaking of whether miners played a major role in the recent market decline, Salter observed, it's no different from traditional markets. You have to sell everything to keep operations going to pay out your debts. As a miner, you have to pay bills, you have to pay for electricity, for operations, and your expenses are in dollars. So as the price of Bitcoin is dropping, it means you have to sell more of your inventory to keep going on. And up to this point, it's a snowball effect. I really get that. But then, of course, the most important part, Bitcoin as the new gold. One of Bitcoin's most popular narratives has always tried to portray it as the new gold. However, Bitcoin has been breaking away from that narrative by following the trajectory of the traditional markets with the direct correlation. Whether this latest reversal will continue largely depends on the severity of the crisis, Salter believes. If this economic crisis is contained, then it will not have major implications for Bitcoin. However, if there is a real collapse, then the interest in Bitcoin will explode. It'll go back to being seen as a hedge against the banking system, and the more skepticism people will have in the old economy, the more they will flock to Bitcoin. Definitely true. I mean, Bitcoin was created for really that purpose. So that's pretty cool to think about. Bitcoin halving 53 days away. Keep that in the back of your head. XRP is not an answer for Mexico, says RippleNet partner. Ripple and XRP may be used in other markets. Crypto is taking over the remittance market. Well, Intermex, one of the world's leading remittance companies, has announced that it will not be using Ripple and XRP for Mexico or its other core markets. The position comes as a surprise, as earlier this year the company embraced Ripple as a partner. So to me, it's also a little bit strange that they said this, but Ripple and XRP may be used in other markets, though. Executives have made the announcement on the conference call in response to a question about how the partnership with Ripple and its native XRP token will be utilized moving forward. The chief financial officer, CFO, said, "We're looking at Ripple for a couple of other products, which I think we mentioned in the press release. The first of which is RippleNet, which, as you know, is their hub connecting financial institutions together, which will enable us to onboard new players faster than we would if we were doing direct connections with each other. Ripple will not be an answer for places like Mexico. We're very proud about the relationships we have there. We have very tight relationships that strategically setting plans and objectives with those players, and you wouldn't really see us leveraging Ripple in our core markets. I think it will bring us more growth in newer markets and places where we're exploring going into ancillary products." Well, I didn't read that really properly, but I know the whole narrative here, and actually know the bigger story and bigger picture behind it. Really, what is shown here is actually what Robert, the CEO, says is that they don't really need this RippleNet solution for Mexico. Why? Because they want to utilize RippleNet for getting to more places where they don't have direct connections, which through RippleNet is really simple because, I mean, they're the intermediary, right? They're helping you getting connections everywhere, and they just make everything a lot simpler in a world where nobody trusts each other. But they're saying out loud now that they already have a lot of good connections in, I guess, Mexico, and of course, some of their core markets they're already doing good for, and so they don't need the connection boost and help from RippleNet. So where's the issue, right? It's not a big one. They just made the title sound a little bit more heavy than it actually is. I mean, it's an answer for Mexico, but not really for Intermex because they already have good connections, so they don't need it. So yeah, what can you do about that one? Ripple XRP lack of strength suggests false rally or just correction. Ripple's up more than 10% and it broke the 1550 resistance against the US dollar. However, XRP price is lacking strength and pointing a fresh decrease in the near term. Ripple price is up more than 10% and it tested the 1720 resistance against the US dollar. It is now showing a few bearish signs and trading below the 1650 level. There's a key bullish trend line forming with support near 1570 on the hourly, and the price is likely to revisit 1580 and 5050 levels. Well, we're going to be seeing about the price, I guess. Ripple price is correcting gains. In the past 3 sessions, Ripple gained strength above the 1400 and 1450 resistance levels. XRP price surged above 15 cents resistance level to move into a short-term positive zone. Besides, there was a sharp move above the 1650 resistance and the price settled above the 100 hourly simple moving average SMA. A new weekly high was formed near the 1720 resistance. Ripple is currently correcting lower and trading below the 1650 level. There was a break below the 23.6 fib retracement of the recent rise from 1407 to 1734. On the downside, an initial support is near the 1600 level, and the first major support is near 1580. We are right now at about, let's see, for XRP, 1592, or 93, I should say. Major support at 1580, so we're really quite above there. There's also a key bullish trend line forming with support near 1570 on the hourly chart, but I guess we're still doing pretty good if we look at it from that perspective. Trend line support is close to the 50% Fibonacci retracement level of the recent rise from 1407 to 1734. Therefore, dips towards 1600 and 1580 support levels are likely to find a decent buying interest. So yeah, they're all saying weak price action, but I guess that's it for this video, guys. Hopefully you learned something new. And also, I've been out of the game for a couple of days here. I've just really been focusing on a couple of different things, and I really want to get back into it now. But I always need one video or so to get myself into the spirit of staying consistent. So hopefully you guys bear with me here for this one. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. And next videos will be amazing quality, hopefully again. If you have some feedback, let me know in the comment section down below. See you guys again in another crypto video. Enjoy your day, everybody. Have a very nice one.